Hi, it's Phil here for digitaldjtips.com with the Traktor Kontrol S2 DJ controller. This model is a smaller brother to the Traktor Kontrol S4. They're both made by Native Instruments, which is the company that makes the Traktor DJ software. And these are their two controllers that allow you to control most of the functions of Traktor. They have another controller called the X1, which is mainly for use with digital vinyl, although a lot of DJs are using it as a standalone controller. But this is the controller that kind of comes in lower down in the range than the Kontrol S4, and that really comes in as a mainstream DJ controller. This is the one that looks more like most DJ controllers that are out there, and as such I think this is the one that's going to prove the most popular of the two controllers over time. It's smaller, cheaper, lighter and less feature laden than the Kontrol S4. I have an S4 actually. So here's the Kontrol S4. It's a huge controller. Look at the size of the thing compared to the S2. And the Kontrol S4 has got really a lot of stuff on it, which is great. I mean, Traktor is very, get rid of that. Traktor is very complicated software. Traktor is very powerful, does a lot of stuff. But for the average DJ who just wants to play records, feels like trying to crack a nut with a sledgehammer sometimes. Traktor really does have a lot of functions, and they're quite well represented on the S4, but at the expense of size and weight, although it's still quite light, but also cost. It's an expensive controller. This one is a lot cheaper and a lot easier to move around, while still having most of the functions that most DJs will use most of the time. What has it got missing that the S4 has that might sway your decisions? Well, the big thing missing is there are no external inputs on this apart from a microphone. So you can't plug extra CD decks in, you can't plug record decks in, you can't even plug your iPod in order to have a backup should your laptop fail. I think all of that's understandable except the iPod bit. Come on, let's have some way of getting a backup system in place. If you're DJing live and your system goes down, to be able to press play on your iPod or on your iPhone even and just keep the music going, to me is quite important. However, there are some ways where this improves on the Kontrol S4. The big one is it's now got a booth output. Now a booth output allows you to play music to a speaker or to two speakers very near to you, as well as to the main PA. Now on this, round the back, there's a little switch that allows you to switch from the RCAs to booth, and so you have a main set of outputs, and you then have a set of outputs with a volume control which can control a separate set of speakers. So that's good. That's something the S4 is missing. I wouldn't be surprised if the S4 comes out, you know, it gets sneaked out in a Mark II version with that addition made, because that's something that really should have been included in the first place on that model. Another thing missing from this model is that the S4 has a couple of really big, nice filter knobs here. Now, filter is kind of a standard control in house music. It's one that's always used, and if you don't know what it is, you'll recognise it the minute you heard it. Just suffice to say, it's a good thing to have. And they're not on this model. However, in the configuration that comes with the Traktor 2.1 software that comes with this, you can change the gains on each channel to work absolutely fine as filters. And then to use gain, you just press shift. And in fact, it's already there. If you hold shift and turn them, you can use them as filters. So not a big omission, that, and something that's been fixed in software, if you like. So once you work that bit out, it's not a problem. Filters are on there. Okay, so the advantage of this over this, of course, we've just discussed how this is more a populist controller. It's slotting in at a part of the market where a lot of controllers are bought. And so there's a lot more competition. And the advantage that this controller has over the competition is that it's tightly integrated with Traktor, really tightly integrated with Traktor, as you would expect from a company that also makes the software. And it's a disadvantage that all other manufacturers have, to a certain extent, when building Traktor controllers. For instance, Traktor has sample decks. Now, sample decks allow you to take short chunks of anything. It could be just one drum, or it could be a little loop of music, or it could be something that you sampled straight from the track you're currently playing. Short parts of the music, and put them onto buttons, and then you can play them back. Now, the sample deck on the Traktor Kontrol S4, the sample decks are very complicated and you can do a lot with them. On this, they're a lot simpler, but they're still there. They're not there on any other tractor controller at the moment. On this, you just simply get a knob in the middle, which acts like a pair of faders to set these 4 and these 4 buttons up to trigger samples. And as soon as you've turned it on, you can then play your samples back using these. They can be looped, and it's powerful, and yet they've kept it nice and simple. That's not on any other tractor controller, although other manufacturers are promising mappings and so on. Some of them are starting to appear now. It's integrated into this, it's all labelled up right, and it works well out of the box. And it hasn't got any parallels in other controllers. There's no one else close to it. So if sample decks are something that you want, really this is your only choice. Now, other manufacturers are looking to bring out mappings. Vestax for its VCI 100 Mark II is promising a mapping. Reloop for its Jockey 3, I believe, already has a mapping. Now, they are 2 controllers that you should consider if you're looking for a tractor controller, especially if sample decks aren't massively important to you. But even if they are, they're 2 controllers you should consider alongside this. The Vestax VCI 100 Mark II and the Reloop Jockey 3. There are reviews of both of those on Digital DJ Tips, so go find those. If you're looking to buy a controller similar to this, which is professional, that you can use out and about, as you can the 2 controllers I just mentioned, they're both also professional performing controllers. If you're looking for something along those lines, but you're not really too bothered whether it's tractor or not, well then there's other choices. One of the choices I have here is the Novation Twitch. This is for Serato Itch, which is a rival software package to Traktor. This is even smaller and even lighter, quite considerably so, than the Traktor Kontrol S2. As you can see, it ditches the jog wheels completely, using these strips instead, and has lots of innovative functions on it of its own, including the ability to trigger 8 hotkeys very simply. This has only got 4. And also better looping, including loop memory and something called auto loop, which I won't go into, but basically it's a good way of making your loops sound great while the music continues to play on the beat. So innovative stuff on the Novation Twitch, a lot of which you can't find on this. However, the sample decks, which Serato Itch software actually now has sample decks. Crazily, this controller came out and 2 weeks later Serato updated its software to give us sample decks which you get on the Traktor. And this controller can't at the moment take any advantage of that. So again, tight integration of software and hardware is one of the plus points of the Traktor Kontrol S2. But as I was saying, if you're not really that bothered about sample decks and you just want a really good professional 2-deck controller, the Novation Twitch or the Vestax VCI 300 Mark II, both worth looking at. That latter controller is very simple but very, very good at letting you play records without fuss. So there you go, there's the Traktor Kontrol S2. It completes the Traktor Kontrol range for Native Instruments. It gives them controllers at all different points in the range, and really, to me, puts them in quite an unassailable position in the controller market. And I really wouldn't be surprised if other manufacturers come up with their own software in order to just start competing properly with Traktor and with Native Instruments, because at the moment it looks like Native Instruments are running away with it. And this, I truly believe, will be their most popular DJ controller to date. So there it is, the Traktor Kontrol S2, and it's available now. Of course, as always, the full review is on Digital DJ Tips, and this one is at digitaldjtips.com/S2. Thanks for watching.